You were a weapon, a bringer of death. And now, you're nothing. I will keep on killing you. Again and again. I am your future. An eternity of slow, painful deaths.
I hear thunder. Bitter. Time to wake up. Furi is a 2016 boss rush gauntlet arena game made from French studio The Game Bakers, whose only other notable game is about two conventionally attractive young people who are deeply in love.
I would also like to eat you.
Furi stars an elderly black man from the hit anime series Samurai Champloo and has you battling stereotypes by escaping from prison and murdering a guard right in front of his own child. The easiest way to describe the gameplay is a mix between Sekiro's fast-paced rhythmic striking and parrying and Touhou's bullet hell seizure-inducing neon screen vomit. Thankfully, at least this one doesn't sexualize little girls. God damn it! As stated earlier, Furi is a boss rush game. That means the entire thing is either frantic, action-packed boss fights or cinematic strolls through Roger Dean paintings. Now, I'm not a hard gamer. I'd say I'm half chill at best, but the game really puts you through the grinder. See those little cubes over there? Those are the number of health bars every boss has. And newsflash, kiddo, that's a fucking lie. See, whenever you down an enemy, you enter the real fight of that phase. An up-close and personal melee, where your little pipsqueak ass can't run around the arena and is locked in a spit-swapping makeout match with the enemy. Okay, cool. So that means for every supposed phase an enemy has, I just have to double it, right? Think again, chuckle nuts. Some enemies have 3 phases per health bar just to fuck with you and squash your hopes like the Spanish economy after the 16th century. Was that a topical enough analogy for you? Nevertheless, because this video was a request, and also because I wanted to challenge myself, I decided not to pussy out and see the game through to the end. I'm gonna be real with you, I don't know exactly how I got to the end, but I actually did. It's frustrating, sure, but Furi is not mean or unfair. Every boss makes you scream and wallow in pain, but if you zen out and just die on the inside, and wail on the boss over and over and over again, every phase you barely got through, only to die right after, eventually becomes muscle memory. I legitimately hate the fact I started to enjoy the game about halfway through. Is this what Dark Souls players feel like? A little tip I discovered while playing, which I think helped me tremendously, especially while dealing with the faster bosses, is to just not stop attacking. Running away or dodging leaves you exposed, vulnerable, and overall makes you look like a little bitch. Getting up in the boss's face, on the other hand, lets you apply maximum damage, and anything else they counterattack with can be parried in order to restore your health. This way, Furi rewards aggressive behavior, and the melee portions of the game acquire a beautiful rhythm I've only seen in a select few games. I start pounding this dude with my sword, he punishes me with a really fast attack on his part, but get this, I parry his punish and continue abusing him like it's my goddamn job. Furi really is a game where your confidence as a player noticeably changes the way you play the game. And I think that's an understated feat to achieve in any modern game. I'm not talking about speedrunners casually aligning themselves with the boss's ass cheeks to clip through the floor and deal half his health and damage. That's a world record! I mean a genuine lack of fear combined with respect for just how fast this dude can cleave your ass in half. I should also mention that Furi got a DLC a few years after release called Onimusha, where you play as Francine Furi, our main protagonist's sister. It doesn't actually come with the base game, and I don't have enough cash to buy it, so I'll let my friend Emmy, who's a much more experienced player, describe it more accurately than I could.
Okay, Peter, I'm not gonna say that ass is furious.
Moving on from the gameplay, you might have actually heard Furi even if you haven't seen it before. That's because its soundtrack is littered with a star-studded cast of electronic composers my programmer friends won't stop saying is like pretty banging, my dude. This includes Brutal Carpenter, The Toxic Avenger, K1GHT, Skittles, and even more people who spent an alarming amount of time staring at static TV as children. Jokes aside, the soundtrack is fantastic, with my personal favorite tracks being 624, Make This Right, and Something Memorable. But the game is relatively short, and jam-packed enough that honestly I can say that there aren't any bad songs on here. Even my least favorite ones are very enjoyable atmospheric pieces that serve as the quiet moments to build up the hype for the next fight. The bosses as characters are pretty damn memorable too. I've always been of the opinion that less is more of the enemy department, if and only if you can make every fight memorable and unique. Safe to say, Furi excels in this aspect, with no single boss having the same patterns or attack speeds. They're also quite the critters, ranging from manic schizophrenics hiding behind walls and stalking you from the shadows, to patient, calm masters of their craft, taking their time and whittling you away in a battle of attrition, to even manic histrionics hiding behind walls and stalking you from the shadows. And speaking of good bosses, this game's final one is my personal favorite. So far, you might get the impression that this game is just a conveyor belt whack-a-thon, but it does actually have a pretty subtle and nice little story, so spoiler alert for this section. Skip to the timestamp on screen if you don't want to hear it, or I don't fucking care, go play Project Zomboid or whatever. All the bosses in Furi have a moniker instead of normal name, such as the Hand or the Chain. So when I found out that the last one's name is the Edge, I was worried it was gonna be some Shadow the Hedgehog intentionally difficult and annoying asshole. What I got instead was one of the most wonderful, honorable, and challenging enemy encounters I've ever had the joy of experiencing in a video game. Instead of getting something that would make me quit and revel in my frustration like the bosses before, this blonde-haired swordsman was just nice.
You have it in you. Let it out. I want to see you shine. Excellence is not an art, it's pure habit. We are what we repeatedly do. You move well. You're reading me quite quickly. Let's see how predictable you think I am now. It seems like we're fighting each other, but we both know we're fighting against ourselves. Nice. You have more strength than you think. Try and stay with me through this. Come on. Give me something memorable. Something I can learn from that will make me better.
Okay, I lied, sue me. So, the Edge isn't the game's final boss, there's one more pretty touching enemy encounter afterwards, and then the game ends, right? It already had a fake-out boss, then a tragically easy one afterwards to hit that emotional note, then the ending credits masterfully convey the game's themes, and you're left with a satisfying, bittersweet ending. Psych!
Kill yourself now!
Turns out there's an actual true final boss. What is this, fucking Persona? In the form of a giant Teletubbies baby if it entered Tron. This boss is ass. More ass than Mark Ass Brownlee. I feel like this is the equivalent of a Family Guy cutaway gag. I mean, how many times in this video alone have I made a stupid, unfunny comparison like this? What, like 5, 6? Do you guys actually find this funny? Like, entertaining at least? You know, put in the background while doing my taxes sort of way? I feel creatively bankrupt. There's nothing I can do.
Milkies, mommy milkies, big, juicy, voluptuous, angelic titty.
The first transgression you'll notice is that the snappiest and most satisfying part of the game, that is the melee, is completely absent. Yeah, you can parry the little blorbs that attack you, but that restores about half of health bar and mostly feels like an insult more than anything helpful. Secondly, you have to wait for these hands to cycle and essentially be undamageable the rest of the time, which is a mechanic from the line fight, when I foolishly thought they weren't gonna repeat, cause it wasn't fun back then either. And to top it all off, the floor of the room is the same shade of blue as the lasers and other projectiles, making the whole thing a test of endurance rather than a belated final boss, who by the way has the most bland and uninspired song out of a game with straight bangers. Look, I could stomach the chain track being called 624, but like, what the actual fuck is this? I swear the Attack on Titan soundtrack has more sane names than this. I think I might make a video at some point about great games with lackluster final bosses because I'm unfortunately sensing a pattern. Overall, I'd say Furi is a hidden gem that you should definitely play if anything so far hasn't caught your eye, as they don't do it justice. I'd give it an 8.72 out of 10. Oh shit, hold on, I haven't filled the joke quota yet. My leg! By the way, once more, I would just like to mention I have a second channel. I upload shorter meme videos there often, I might add. Go check that out if you haven't, and as always, I would like to add a special shout out to my wonderful patrons for sponsoring this video, especially Thug Hunter, who requested this wonderful little game.